Hello, good evening, everyone. Arva Nitin, hi Nitin. बऱ्याच दिवसांनी. हॅलो जुई, हॅलो दिगंबर. आणि 2 मिनिटात चालू करूया. हाय हाय, गुड इव्हनिंग सगळ्यांना. येस, सो पुन्हा एकदा गुड इव्हनिंग आणि वेलकम यू ऑल टू दिस थर्ड सेशन ऑफ वाईल्ड लाईफ वीकली विथ निखिल. पहिले तर सॉरी, मी लास्ट वीकचं सेशन अपलोड करू शकलो नाही, सम टेक्निकल इश्यूज. पण इथून पुढे आय विल मेक शुअर की मी सेशन्स अपलोड करतो आहे. सो वेलकम टू दिस थर्ड सेशन. आणि आजचा आपला विषय खूप वेगळा आहे, खूप नवीन आहे, कॉन्झर्वेशनच्या दृष्टीने खूप महत्त्वाचा आहे. तर मी स्टोरीचं टायटल दिलं होतं त्याप्रमाणे आज आपण बोरगड कन्झर्वेशन रिझर्वची स्टोरी ऐकणार आहोत, त्याबद्दलच्या घटना आणि काय चाललं आहे हे ऐकणार आहोत. तर त्याच्यासाठी आपल्यासोबत असणारे प्रतीक्षा कोठुळे. सो मी आधी तिला कॉलमध्ये इन्व्हाइट करतो. हॅलो, हाय प्रतीक्षा.
Hi, good evening.
हाय हाय, गुड
Can you hear me
इव्हनिंग.
properly?
येस येस, आय कॅन हिअर यू प्रॉपरली. सो मी
Okay.
सगळ्यांना प्रतीक्षाची थोडक्यात ओळख करून देतो. आमची ओळख बेसिकली माझ्या मास्टर्सच्या कोर्सच्या वेळेला झाली, पण प्रतीक्षा आणि बायोटेक्नॉलॉजी केलेलं आहे. आणि त्यानंतर आय गेस तिचा इंटरेस्ट आणि आय वुड गो अहेड अँड से तिच्या फॅमिलीचा पण वाईल्ड लाईफमधला खूप इंटरेस्ट असल्यामुळे आय गेस तिने बायोडायव्हर्सिटीमध्ये MSc करायचं ठरवलं. आणि तिथून प्रतीक्षाची खरी अर्थाने आय वुड से वाईल्ड लाईफकडे वाटचाल सुरू झाली. नाशिकमध्ये तिने बरंच काम केलं आणि ती सध्या काय करते आणि तिने काय काय काम केलं आय गेस हे तिनेच सांगावं, कारण ती खूप प्रकारची कामं करते. सो प्रतीक्षा, इफ यू कुड जस्ट इन 5 minutes टेल व्हॉट यू डुईंग करंटली.
Yes, first of all, thank you मला इन्व्हाइट केल्याबद्दल. अ, खरं तर तुझ्यामुळे आणि इतर बरेच क्लासमेट्समुळे खूप शिकायला मिळालं. मी या फील्डच्या साठी खूप नवीन होती आणि फील्डवरती राहून आणि लाईव्ह एक्सपिरियन्सेस तुमचे ऐकून माझा इंटरेस्ट अजून ग्रो झाला. आणि ड्युरिंग द मास्टर्स आय गॉट टू नो की इथे एक संस्था आहे, नेचर कॉन्झर्वेशन सोसायटी ऑफ नाशिक, आणि त्याचे जे हेड आहेत श्री विश्वरूप राहा, हे खूप काम करतात नाशिकमध्ये. सो ड्युरिंग द समर ब्रेक आय व्हॉलेंटिअर्ड विथ देम आणि आय गॉट टू नो की नाशिक इज फुल ऑफ बायोडायव्हर्सिटी आणि देर इज लॉट ऑफ स्कोप टू वर्क फॉर कन्झर्वेशन. आणि after the masters I worked in different areas, but then eventually I wanted to work for Nasik. So I joined NCSN in 2017 officially as a project coordinator and wildlife biologist. So my work basically involves in three different aspects. One is research, awareness, and conservation. So in research, we go around different areas of Nasik and try to document the biodiversity. We share our data with the forest department. Also use that data to spread awareness and conserve a particular species or a habitat.
राईट.
Yes,
राईट.
and in awareness, our major work lies in the rural areas where we go to various villages. Mainly, we have worked in Harsul, Pet, uh, Trambakeshwar, Dindori area of Nasik, and we involve school children. So we go to these schools. We try to arrange various activities like painting
या.
competition, nature painting competition, or uh, PowerPoint presentations, field outings, and prize distribution, etc. And through that, we bond with them and we try to spread a message that why nature is important and why you should not use catapults or any other tool to destroy nature.
या.
Yes.
या,
And
आय
we
गेस
see,
गो
yeah,
ऑन गो ऑन गो ऑन.
yes. And with that, we see good results, but this needs long term efforts. So
या.
going to that place again and again and trying to uh, slow down these activities, the destruction activities, and also with the help of forest department and the local communities. So this work, and we also involve the school children, city
Right.
school children. Yes, so we have activities for them as well. We have nature clubs, and we have certain conservation projects. So one of them is Borgad Conservation Project.
Yes, so it's a lot of work, Pratiksha. I guess everybody can understand that, and I know how it's important being a local over there and being able to work in that area for a long term. It's really important. But let's come to our today's topic, the topic of Borgad Conservation Reserve. To our audience, I'll quickly tell you what is a conservation reserve. This concept came into existence quite a years back, and there are two parts actually: conservation reserve and community reserve. uh, I think you must have read in my post that there are more than 150 conservation reserves. I'll slightly change that fact. There are more than 150 community reserves, and I guess more than 60 conservation reserves in India. The conservation reserve is basically a government owned land, maybe a revenue, maybe under territorial forest department or anything, Air Force land, Army land, similar to that. And that land is not given proper status like wildlife sanctuary or anything above that. But that forest patch is still very much important from the point of view of corridors that we spoke during our first two live sessions. So that patch is still important for animals which migrate or which need that intermediate forest patch to connect between two protected areas. So a government owned land is called as a conservation reserve in very broad aspect, and land which is privately owned, which the locals want to be protected, is called as community reserve or community conservation reserve. So as you must know, the people in northeast or the communities in northeast have very big stretches of land owned by the villages. So it's not a government owned land, but it's the community owned land, which they have now converted into community reserves. And they are doing ecotourism by themselves over there and trying to protect the wildlife and flora over there. So similarly, a government owned land which is protected through community and forest department and the entity which is owning that land is called as a conservation reserve. So one of it is Borgad Conservation Reserve. So Pratiksha, could you tell us where is this Borgad Conservation Reserve located actually?
So it's around 70 kilometers away from Nasik city, 17
Okay.
kilometers. It's on Nasik Pet Road. It's opposite Ramshes Fort. So this is a
Acha.
historical,
Yeah.
iconic place. Um, and it's just opposite that. There's a group of hills, and one of the
Okay.
tallest hill is called as Borgad. So
Okay.
yeah, and it comes
Okay.
under
So
the northernmost Western Ghat region. It
okay,
lies in
and
the
I
north.
guess most
Yeah.
of us, when we talk about Nashik and wildlife, the name Anjaneri comes pretty easily. So how far is it from Anjaneri?
It must be around 40 kilometers away from Anjaneri.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, but even
Okay.
Anjaneri is part of Western Ghats, and this is
Yeah.
also part of Western Ghats. But this is like on
Okay.
the northernmost tip. And this particular highway, which Nashik Pet Highway, it goes to Gujarat. It's very close to
Right.
Gujarat.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. So, can you start with the story? I know it's very interesting. So, how this whole conservation reserve story started with Borgad?
Okay. So our NGO is working for wildlife since 2000, officially working, and around 2005, our founder member Shri Vishwarup Raha, he was on a trek to Ramshes, and overlooking Ramshes, this is this group of hills called Burgad. So he was very fascinated by the entire landscape, and he wanted to explore that area. But there was a problem, or there was an Air Force station. There is a Air Force station at top of Borgad, at the
Okay,
top of the hill, and the area is restricted for civilians, so nobody's allowed to
acha,
go there. Yeah,
okay,
and the land around is owned by Forest Department. So
okay,
he tried to take permission from the Air Force and Forest Department for a preliminary survey, just to
okay,
see what that area has. And so he got the permission, luckily. And so during his initial surveys, he got to know that it's a good forest land, but the forest is sparsely distributed, and
Okay.
a lot of wildlife, including leopard, hyena, other mammals, a lot of forest birds. But also at the same time, he saw a huge forest patch getting destructed because of uh, killing of birds or small mammals, and also
Okay.
cutting down of trees for
Right.
timber and firewood. Yes. So this was the initially he reported it to forest department and initially thought that he will convince the villagers around to involve them into something something like conservation. So
Okay.
there is a village at the base of Borgad called as Tugaldara. So that village was
Okay.
very active, and it gave a good response to his uh, initial communication. So he was a Bengali, okay, and
Oh,
convincing a Marathi speaking
right,
people
right.
in
I know.
Bengali or Hindi
Could
is
be.
difficult. Yeah, so you can judge his dedication through that, that he learned Marathi just so that he can communicate with them and influence
Right.
them that why this forest is important and why it needs
Yeah.
to be protected. So his first aim was to protect the remaining trees or the remaining wildlife there, and
Okay.
slowly start tree plantation. So
Okay. So
he
just
contact
one question. How big is this area initially, which it was?
yeah. So one side of the entire mountain ranges, you can see it covers around 350 hectares.
Wow. Okay. That's
Mhm.
big area.
So it's a big area. And so he influenced the villagers, saying that if you protect this forest, it will be beneficial for you. And they agreed to it. So 80% of the
Oh,
villagers was with him,
great.
and through them, he started the plantation drive. So he asked
Okay.
some corporates, and Mahindra then got
Okay.
involved. So they started a project called as Project Haryali. Haryali means greenery.
Acha. Yeah.
And with that, over the years of 7 to 8 years, 1,50,000 trees were planted.
Wow.
Hmm.
Wow. Wow. That's
And
a great number.
yes, and so for plantation, people from the villages got involved. Then Mahindra staff, so they did a lot of Shramadan, what we say.
Right.
So yeah. Then the civilians, the Nasik citizens were also part of the volunteers team, and a lot of school children. The
Okay.
village school children and the city school children were involved during the plantation. But plantation was not the only step for the conservation. Firstly, it
Yeah.
was stopping of hunting and cutting down of trees,
Mainly that.
then protecting the saplings, because
Right.
just abandoning the saplings after plantation is mainly seen because they are not taken care. But over the year, taking care of those saplings is very important. So that was done,
Yeah.
and so this concept of conservation reserve was very new at that time. He was,
Exactly.
yeah, and he was very much in touch with the forest department.
Yeah.
And he used to work in the, not only he, but entire NCSN team used to work with the forest
Right.
department then. And through them, they got to know that there is a concept called as conservation reserve, and he got an
Okay.
idea that why don't we convert this entire land as a protected, give it as a protected area status. So a
Yeah.
proposal was sent to the forest department, and then PCCF of wildlife,
Yeah.
Mr. B. Mujumdar, he visited the area in around
Okay.
2007, and he surveyed, and he mentioned that this area is very important in ecological point of view, and it was declared as a conservation reserve in 2008, and it was the first conservation reserve in Maharashtra.
Yeah. In
Yes,
Maharashtra, exactly. So,
Maharashtra.
could you tell me in how much area did you do the plantation? Because I guess it was more than the 350 hectares, or it was within that area,
It was within the area. Only the
within the
areas
area.
which were the open lands were covered.
Okay.
Yeah, the slopes of the
Okay.
mountains. There is still
Okay.
a grassland patch which was not touched.
Great.
So,
Great.
so only the forest area,
So,
which
so
was
not altering the
initially,
habitat too much.
yeah, And also, initial survey of local trees were done, and only the native trees which were locally grown there
Well,
were planted.
yeah.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah, but again, this question arises with participation of locals. For plantation, maybe people come ahead, but when an area goes into protection, the locals especially start fearing that maybe our movement will be restricted, or maybe some things will not be allowed after it is declared as a protected area. So, how was the response of the locals in that aspect? Whether anybody opposed to this doing this, or did you do anything more than just getting them involved into plantation?
Yes. So they were convinced because they were getting something back in return. We were asking them to not cut trees, but in return, Forest Department and the sponsors of our NGO gave them LPG. So
Okay.
so initially cylinders were given and a subsidized LPG was given to them.
Okay.
Also, smokeless chullas, which work on electric,
Right.
were given
Acha.
to
Oh,
them. Yeah,
interesting.
and solar water heaters were installed so that that can be used
Okay.
during the winter season. Also, five locals were appointed as watchmen. By the
Oh,
initially they were getting paid by Mahindra and Mahindra, so they had a
okay.
fixed salary, permanent salary. So they were responsible for taking care of the saplings there or the area there. And so this conservation reserve, there are three stakeholders. One is the
Hmm.
forest department by default, then
Right.
there is our NGO, and the third
Yeah.
stakeholder here is the village Tungaldara.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they know that the forest belongs to them, and the
Right.
whatever resources are there will be used for them, or they are allowed to go to the forest and get the resources.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. But how much time did it take from the conceptualization by Raha sir till the reserve was declared? So, what was the time frame? How much time did it take to get it
Um,
to a legal status?
It was just 3 years actually. So
No,
2005,
it's still a long time.
yeah. So
And
initially surveyed the forest in 2005, then the convincing the villagers, then getting the back of Mahindra and Mahindra, and converting it or declaring it as a conservation reserve. It took 3 years. So in
right.
2008, it was declared as a conservation reserve. Yeah.
So,
But the
and how many
main,
villages are involved? You just mentioned one. I guess there'll be more.
yeah. So this main one village, which is right at the base of Borgad, is called as Tungaldara. So that's the main village which we uh, took part. So they were taken in for all these
Okay.
activities. But then other villages we tried and convinced, but they were not very fond of. We also tried plantation in the areas near those villages, but they were
Right.
not very for it. Yeah, so they used
Right.
to give back the cylinders, or they used to hmm, they used to not protect the saplings.
So
Purposely, they'll
basically,
take their
people who are directly dependent and know that they have to go every day in forest were
hmm,
more easily convinced, I should say. So maybe after, I guess 2008 you said, and you started working with them, I guess 3, 5 years back. So how do you see their response when you now go into those villages, and also in terms of the ecosystem services that we talk about, which come from forest to the villages? So earlier, what they had, have you ever had these discussions that, say, before 2010, what they used to get from forest, and now they get, say, more water or more output of the forest, something like that? Did you have any kind of, or rather, have you noticed or have you discussed any kind of change with them after the declaration of conservation reserve?
yes. So this year we actually celebrated 13 years of it being as
Yeah.
declared as a conservation reserve. I first visited Borgad in 2013, and
Wow.
so yeah. So since then, I have personally seen the green cover has tremendously increased. So there are
Right.
very few open patches left now. There's
Okay.
hardly any maintenance needed. So the
Right.
original trees or the trees which were planted are now regenerating and spreading. So we have noticed that the groundwater level has increased. So
Yeah.
earlier, the village had only one well,
Okay.
and the water is to dry out by summer, and
Okay.
they never used to do farming in the summer season. But now,
Okay.
for in like 4 5 years back, the villagers dug five more wells, and bore wells were also drilled. And luckily, all of them got water, and the water
Right.
is now seen throughout the year. And
Great.
yes, and the villagers have started farming in the summer season as well. So they grow wheat, they grow different vegetables in the summer season.
Right.
So this is
Right.
the direct impact that we see now. Uh, it's a very dry area, so being in Western Ghats, people must be imagining it very green and
Yeah.
with a lot of evergreen trees, but that's not the case. The area doesn't receive a lot of rainfall. Rainfall is
Okay.
just for the 4 months of monsoon, and the rest of the year is very dry. The temperature reach up to 40 degrees Celsius in summer.
Wow.
Yeah, and so during that time, and the species, the tree species which is found there is teak dominantly. So it's a
Oh,
teak
okay.
forest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
And if you imagine a teak forest in summer, it's completely dry because all the
Yeah.
leaves are shed. And if
Right.
you visit that area in summer, you'll see that there's hardly any work done, or this is not a good forest. You'll imagine that from a distance.
Yeah.
But if you walk inside, you'll see that uh, the barks of the teak are quite big. They have
Great.
grown around 30 feet tall. And along with that, there are many other tree species and a lot of biodiversity.
Great.
Yeah, and
Yeah. So
these,
coming to that point of biodiversity, since you have been going there from 2013, have you, of course, you must have experienced a change in biodiversity.
yes. So this is a very good forest patch. Um, so I always say that whenever I visit, I see something new. So I visit that
Great.
area at least once a week. This was the case before lockdown, but now I try to visit at least once a month. But whenever I visit, I see something new in case of the biodiversity. We see an increase in bird species, which we have
Okay.
documented.
Great.
Now there are around 105 species of forest birds seen throughout the year.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, and
Great.
Nashik has around 350 species of birds recorded, and out of 350,
Mm,
105 are seen at
yeah,
Borkat
that's
itself.
pretty
Yeah,
good.
and we have also noticed that there is an increase in bird of prey population.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so there is a resident Bonelese eagle, shine falcon, then Indian vulture is breeding there.
Wow.
Uh,
Wow. That's
then
great.
yes, then we see crested serpent eagle, white-eyed buzzard, etc. Also, harriers come in winter. So
Wow.
I have read somewhere that good predator population shows that it's a good habitat
Yeah.
because
Yeah. Yeah.
it gets
Similar
a
to
lot
what
of
we talk about tigers and leopards.
yeah, yes. So this indicates that the forest is good, the ecosystem is good there. Also, there are a lot of birds. There are 70% of the birds seen there are resident, and
Oh, great.
we also notice that birds come in that area for breeding. Even if though they don't
Okay.
stay there, they breed there. So that means they feel
Right.
that this area is safe. Um, we have birds like Indian scimitar babbler, white-bellied minivet, which is seen there. Also, there are birds which come during the monsoon for breeding. Birds like Indian blackbird,
Right.
orange-headed thrush,
Yeah.
multar whistling thrush. They come here for breeding from South India. Earlier, we used to see around four pairs of blackbirds, but now there are around 20
Mm.
pairs of blackbirds. Yeah,
Wow.
which breed there every
That's
year.
great. Exactly.
Yes.
And other
Um,
than birds, big
Other than
mammals.
birds, yeah. So we have around three full-grown leopards roaming in the
Wow.
forest. Yes. Now, recent data says, and there are around 30 wild boars. Then good
Great.
population of black-naped hare. Then
Okay.
there are good good dense sites of Indian the striped hyena. Then we have civet cat. Then we have jungle cat, etc. And good population of reptiles, amphibians, and butterflies and other insects.
That's
Yeah,
that's great. I guess one question pops into my mind when we talk about increasing the greenery. Recently, during a visit to few villages, I came across villagers saying that, okay, sir, earlier there was no greenery. So the problem of animals, especially langurs, coming into our agricultural land and destroying crop was less. And since the forest has grown now, the number of animals has grown, and the attacks on our farms have increased. So, is there a increase in conflict, so to say, in this village, or have you come across any such event?
Actually, it's the opposite now. The
Okay,
Yeah, because the forest is growing, there's a lot of uh, food available inside the forest. Also,
right,
water is
right.
available inside the forest. There are
Okay,
perennial water sources inside the forest.
wow,
So,
wow,
generally, the conflict used to arise for water. So, birds and
hmm.
animals used to go away from the forest to the villages for
Right,
water, but now they
right.
stay inside the forest and there is less conflict. Also, we see
That's,
Nasik is known for leopard conflicts. There's a lot of,
yeah,
yeah, many villages see leopards coming inside the village and attacking people, but there is
right,
hardly any case in this area. Even if they must
great,
be coming inside the forest, but there is no conflict. Or so we ask the villagers there to protect their farm animals so that there
okay.
is, so they are not attacked by leopards, and we see a good result. So
That's really really great. So, how much do you think this was possible because no civilians were allowed inside?
mm,
Do you see that impact,
yeah,
or do you think taking people now and showing them how this has been successful would even help better to conserve this and do more work in other areas? How do you see that possibility?
yes. So this area belonging to Air Force is very, very beneficial because so one thing which we didn't have to bother was tourists coming there or
Right,
random people coming there. So because that area is restricted, so only the main thing was we needed to control was the villagers because they were allowed
right.
to come there.
Yeah,
So yeah, so that helped a lot. So now we want to use Borgar as an example
exactly.
for other villagers or the other villages surrounding. We
Right.
want to show them that this is what has happened with long-term conservation. Yeah. So if
Yeah,
you because villagers get extra income by the forest resources, forest produce
yeah,
like wild vegetables,
yes,
wild fruits, and so they sell that and they get extra income. Plus the water level has increased, groundwater level has increased.
yeah,
Uh, yeah, and everyone can see the change. So we want to like get more villagers from other villages to this particular area just to show. And also
right.
we have the permission from the Air Force. So we inform the Air Force about that we are getting a group of 20 people or
Okay,
school children are coming, so they are allowed.
right,
And
right.
we restrict our walks to the forest area and do not
Okay.
go on the Air Force land. Yes.
Great, great, and that's really great because what I would say, awareing the young minds with such kind of concepts, I guess it will get started a movement kind of thing, and it's very important in today's era that we influence those minds and get them into all these things. One more question
Right.
I would like to ask is, how was the response of forest department to this? Was their work increased, or maybe I guess you mentioned earlier that the local watchmen had to be appointed. So were they people of forest department or were they villagers? How did it work with forest department especially?
Yeah. So since the beginning, we see very good support of the forest department. So so it's the forest land, so the forest belongs to them, and they
Right.
have their staff visiting the area, but not
Okay.
as frequent as the local watchmen that we have appointed. Yeah, so
Right.
after the Mahindra and Mahindra took away the support after 7 to 8 years, we now pay the local watchmen there. But
Okay.
huh, So there are forest guards, forest rangers, so who occasionally visit the area, and so they find the local support from the villagers very beneficial, because during the
Okay.
forest fires or any other issue, these people come in hand and they help in extinguishing the fire, or if there is any other
Right.
conflict. Yeah,
Right.
so we see a teamwork here. So not only
Great.
the locals, but the forest department, then support from our NGO and the Air Force. So all
Right.
of this has benefited the forest and
Mm,
what we
yeah,
see today.
that's a great thing to be happening around us, and
Mm,
I guess we have been mentioning this. It's a long-term thing. It doesn't happen in a couple of years. It takes a long time for the forest to regrow, for the villagers to get convinced. And I guess it's a great example. And as you said, you want to use this as an example to convince other villages to participate in this event. So I guess we'll take questions if anybody has any.
yeah, before
I'll
that, I
just
want to add
yeah,
more
sure, sure,
few more things. Yeah,
sure.
about the forest department involvement. So they now
Yes.
have this joint forest management committee where
Okay.
and with that they are doing a lot of good work in the area. So they are digging new bunds, then
Okay.
they are making this very small bunds which on the slopes, the forest department with the help of the villagers, so that the rainwater, it will not go away easily, and it will
Right.
stop for a while and then
Yes.
percolate inside. So
Right.
they
Right.
are doing that with the help of the JFM funds. Then they are providing gas subsidies to the villagers. Still, it's continued.
Yeah.
Um, and a new catchment area was constructed this year.
Oh,
Yeah, so
okay.
we see a lot of involvement of the forest department, and probably they might be planning some tourist activity in future, probably, so that
Okay.
ecotourism can be
Right. I
considered
mean,
in
more
future.
support to the local community, of
Yeah,
course.
yes,
That's great to know.
yes.
So, Mad Megs 81, I guess she's asking, are there any wolves in the forest?
Mm, we have not seen one, but there are some unidentified pug marks which indicate that they are of a wolf. So, but we have proof of hyena residing in that area. Yes,
Okay.
but there are
Any
wolves
fox?
in Fox, no. But then they
No.
are mainly found in the grasslands of Nasik.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, so probably they are not residing there. They must be visiting the area once in a while, probably.
Right.
Yes.
Right. So last week we discussed about camera trapping. Is any camera trapping activity going on in the area?
It happened like few years back, like 7 to 8 years
Okay.
back. Yeah, with the help of forest department, and Rahasar was also there. So they filmed the cubs of jungle cat.
Oh,
Yeah,
great.
yes. But no proper project of documenting the biodiversity.
Okay.
But that is
Okay.
that is the part of the future plan. Yes.
Okay. Pranav has a very broad question. I guess you will be more than interested in answering it. How can we include fields like microbiology, biotechnology with wildlife biology, and eventually conservation? I guess you are the best person to answer this.
My touch with biotechnology is hardly any now, because it's been I think more than 8 years. I didn't do any work with biotechnology, but I don't know, probably uh, so biotechnology, we can use it discovering new species, probably if we encounter something new. So we can just take a
Yeah.
sample and check whether it's a new species or no. Or if there is any conflict, or just to study the leopard population. So
Yeah.
knowing how many leopards are there, so scatter analysis, for that we can use the
Cat
DNA.
analysis, or
So
maybe to
yeah,
study diseases
yeah,
in animals, if there are any. That's a very
yes.
important work that can be done in the lab. There are a lot
Right.
of applications in biotechnology, but yes, you also need to know what is going on the field. And I guess Pratiksha
Yes.
can second the statement that even though you know about biotechnology skills, unless and until you know, you don't know what is going on the field, unless until you don't go on the field and see what you're collecting or what is going on the field, it's very hard to interpret the results of biotechnology for conservation. You will get results, but interpreting them for conservation will be difficult. So even if you're doing microbiology or biotechnology, I would suggest that go on the field and see what is the condition, what is going on, what work is going on the field, and then come back and interpret your results, because only then you'll understand conservation as a whole. Because
Right.
ultimately, biotechnology is just a technique. What you're trying to interpret is more on the field. So let's see if we have any more questions. Do we have any more questions? Yes, there is one from Mihir Agarwal. Since all these years of declaring the area as a conservation reserve, have the localities residing in the vicinity ever felt like outsiders? Okay, coming to the same thing, what was their reaction?
Um, no, the forest belongs to them, so they know that very well. So we are not like, don't get your cattle here for grazing. We have demarcated the areas, so the areas which have new saplings. So for the first 6 years of the plantation, we don't allow them to get their cattle for grazing. But then there are other areas which have old trees; they can get their cattle there for grazing. Plus, there are open grassland patches where they
Right.
graze their cattle. Also, they are allowed to take the forest produce or cut the grass for fodder, etc. So the forest belongs to them, and they are very happy with whatever work we are doing and the forest department is doing there.
Yeah, yeah. So maybe I could just say that you have just streamlined their NTFP or fuel wood collection or greasing thing. It's not that they are not
Yes.
allowed totally. It's
Hmm.
just restricted to a limit that, okay, you'll do
Yes.
this, but do it in a certain area. So it's a
Right.
very, I would say, sustainable thing when you want to
Yes.
conserve an area.
Yes.
Yes. So do we have any more questions? Anybody? Don't see any questions, but yes, thank you, Pratiksha, for joining in today and talking us through this process of creating a conservation reserve. Okay, we have one more question. I guess we'll take this one as our last question. Mihir again is asking, was there any role of social psychologists along this process? I guess it's very interesting. And if yes, what role has been played by them and how important has been?
Mm. No, I'm not aware of this.
No, even I don't think any. It's very interesting, Mihir, for you to ask, because there are some NGOs which are taking or rather hiring psychologists to work with villagers when they are trying to change their livelihood options and making them take part in such conservation activities. But very few NGOs are doing that. But yes, this could be done, and it will be a very interesting study to include psychologists into this. Okay, now many questions are coming in. I guess we'll take two more questions, Pratiksha, if it's okay.
Yeah, yeah, yes, yes.
Yeah. Pranav is asking, is the contribution of any tourist photographers is being used in form of citizen science? Are you putting it on eBird, iNaturalist for citizen science and promoting that area?
Actually, no, because that area is restricted. Only people with permission are allowed to go inside. But
Right.
our team is very active on eBird. So so during our visit, we use eBird and document the bird diversity there. Also, not only the bird diversity, whatever we document, the different biodiversity in the area comes in our newsletter, and we also share it with the forest department. Yes, and that is helping the citizen of Nasik to understand the biodiversity, and also that is help to conserve that particular area. Yes.
Right. Right. We have a question from It's My Click 2, and I guess you have already answered that. He's asking, do you think NCSN should survey some more areas for around Nashik to develop such patches or protected areas? So I guess you are already doing that, and you said
Yeah.
you'll be doing it.
I would like to answer
Uh,
this that there are two
sure,
more
sure.
conservation reserves in Nashik. Yeah, so and there is involvement from our side as well. So one is a grassland area near Yeola. It's called as Rajapur Mamtapur Conservation Reserve. So this area has good population of grassland species like black bugs, wolves, uh, foxes, and a lot of other grassland birds and flora and fauna. So this one area, so we were also part of declaring that area as a conservation reserve. The forest department is doing good work there. They are set up new trails for tourists, and there is a proper entry ticket. So anyone from Nasik here must visit. You don't have to take prior permission. Obviously, it's closed down because of lockdown, but after that, you can visit that area. Then there is Anjaneri Conservation Reserve. So
Right.
we are working on vultures since a very long time. There are two resident population of vultures here. One is Indian vulture and white-backed vulture. So Indian vultures, they nest on the cliffs, um, and there's a huge colony of Indian vultures at Anjaneri. So
Yeah.
to protect that, the forest department and our NGO, along with other several other NGOs, including the BNHS, that area was declared as a conservation reserve. Yes.
Yeah.
So yeah, and we are so every year we plan to increase our scale. So we go to different plants, and we would like to take help from the people who are listening
Yeah.
today as well. So if you want to
Of course.
volunteer or contribute in any way,
Yes.
please get in touch with us. Yeah.
Yes. A quick question from Tanmay is asking, are you monitoring vulture activities, especially in Borgarh Conservation Reserve, and how many nest or individuals are there?
So currently, we don't see any nesting pair at Borgarh. There were seven pairs breeding at Ramshes 4 5 years back, and there was a pair at Borgarh, but probably they have shifted their nest to some other place, or we are not sure. But yeah, so there were around seven pairs 4 5 years back nesting at uh, around Borgarh. And one interesting thing that we observed was there was a competition between Lager Falcon and Indian Vulture in
Wow.
choosing the nesting site. So we saw that,
Great.
yeah, tussle where the Lager Falcon was actually hitting the Indian Vulture and trying to shoo it away its nesting site. So
Right.
that was a very interesting observation.
Great.
Yes.
Great. I guess we'll take one last question, and that is from one of my friend. He's asking, what is the rarest sighting you would say of any kind of species that you have seen, which would you will go, wow, this I have seen this in
Mm.
Borgad. Not, doesn't
Um,
have to be one sighting.
Hmm. So there's one rare site where I don't think there is any other place in Maharashtra at least where you can see that. There's a area which gets around 1,000 pink stripe lilies bloomed just after the first
Wow,
rain.
wow,
Yes,
wow.
more than 1,000.
Great,
Not only 1,000, there might be lakhs of lilies blooming everywhere on that slope. So that is one
great.
thing which I have not seen, or I have not even seen pictures of. So that is one thing. Then there are a lot of endemic flora which is seen there, including three species of Ceropegia which can be seen in
Oh,
that area. Yes.
nice.
And like I said, every time I go, I see something new. So it's
Yeah.
exciting all the time. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess you have already mentioned the Shaheen and Laga
Yes.
Falcon being there, so I guess it's
Yeah. So
pretty
there is
good
a
population of
pair of
predators.
yes, there is a pair of Bonili's eagle which nest every year at Borgad.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
So we know the nesting
Great.
site, and we see a lot of activities there, right from collecting the nesting material or parenting. Or so we see the Bonelli's pair taking the juvenile out for a flight and trying to teach the juvenile how to fly, etc.
Right.
At
Great,
that area. Yes.
great, great, great. I guess. Ramik is asking, this is fantastic to know that so much good work is being done in semi-arid savannas and grassland areas in Maharashtra. He asks about presence of hyena. Yes, Pramik, there are hyenas over there and they are denning, and no, there are no wolves. How many hyenas? Just a last question. Yes, are there multiple packs of hyenas or just one?
We are not very sure, but there is one den site for sure, and there are around 7 individuals. So this was
Great.
reported by one of the forest guards there.
Right. Great. So thank you, Pratiksha, for joining in today. That's it. We'll take no more questions because I know it will go on and on. But thank you again for joining in today and talking us through this development of a conservation reserve. And we hope you best of luck for your future adventures. And thank you again for joining in today. And thank you everybody for listening to this beautiful story of a conservation reserve. And we'll see you on next Saturday with another interesting story about research. So till then, have a good evening and good weekend and goodbye. Thank
Yes.
you.
Thank you, Nikhil, for inviting me. And it was a privilege because I get to represent our NGO and CSN because
Yes.
I am very new to this, but a lot of work was done before I joined in. But then representing our NGO was a privilege and was an honor. So
Yeah.
thank you for inviting. And
Thank
good luck
you.
for your new venture,
Yes.
this
Thank you. Thank
adventure, Wildlife Weekly with Nikhil. So I'm looking forward for
Yes.
more interesting conversations. Yes.
Yes. I'm sure we'll have more interesting conversations. But yes, thank you. Thank you everybody for joining in
Thank
today and
you.
see you on
Yes.
next Saturday. Goodbye.
Bye.